live. Yes. Hello, everybody. We're live from the Dream Data's office. And this is one of the first times actually that we're actually live, Michelle. So nice to see you here
It's real.
at the Dream Data's office. So Copenhagen and Sydney are now in one room. This is amazing. So everybody, welcome to the LinkedIn Live.
Can you imagine? I get to do it live from not Copenhagen, which I got it wrong. Copenhagen, something. Like, honestly, hardest language that anyone can learn.
Yep. Even kids can learn it, so no worries.
Just not me.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is so amazing. So, Michelle, you are traveling to Copenhagen right now and visiting us. You first came over for the LinkedIn summit, Linked Summit, right? In Odense. That was nice. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you on the stage. But for people who came here and don't know you, can you give us a little bit of introduction of what you do? And I'm going to give the microphone over to her because it's a little bit better sound.
It's okay. So I'm Michelle J. Raymond. I'm based out of Sydney, Australia, if we haven't met yet. And I teach businesses how to leverage LinkedIn to grow. So what we have in common is I believe that all the actions you take on LinkedIn should be connected to something that inspires a sale or an opportunity to come your way. So I am most known for company pages, which is my favorite topic to talk about, which is how I ended up at the the Linked Summit. And yeah, like you and I, we have so much in common. But I think what I discovered even on this trip is that when it comes to pages, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. And I'm hoping that we can actually change a few minds, that LinkedIn pages don't have to be something we just push to the side.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody wants to grow their LinkedIn page, but there's not that much love that is giving to the LinkedIn page comparing to your website and so on. So it's like you are watching this show on the Dream Data's page on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So imagine all of that possibilities that you're able to do. So everybody, welcome to the show. We're going to talk about the LinkedIn pages today. And yes, Lil, she is on the other side of the room as well. She traveled together with Michelle. Very nice to have you at the office too. So thanks for joining, and start coming with your questions about LinkedIn pages. How do you work with those? And to finish it off, we're also going to talk about personal profiles and how does that map into the LinkedIn pages as well, how you can use it as a tactic too. So let's start this off. So when you think about the LinkedIn pages and that those marketers who are working on those, what are the basics that they have to start thinking about to cover on the LinkedIn page?
I know this sounds crazy, and I spoke about it at the conference, and people think, Michelle, why do we even have to talk about this? But I'm going to share it again with this audience because it's so important. Number one thing that we need to do is, can we please go back and check that your page is set up correctly? Now, that means all the fields are filled in, and that can be because LinkedIn's created lots of new different fields that have come through, maybe since the page was set up. Quite often when the page was set up, it takes about 15 minutes. Most people skipped over a lot of the things that were in the too hard basket. And so what I find when I'm working with clients is we go back and have a look and there's missing information, or it's really unclear, like, what is it you do? Who do you do it for? And why should I care? And it's confusing for customers. And when you confuse them, you lose them. And you and I, we have sales hearts. We don't want to lose customers at any point. And so this is why I say, even go back and check the contact details. Do you make it easy for people to reach out to your business? And as much as most of you are sitting there going, oh my God, Michelle, that's so basic, I assure you that no matter how many clients, no matter size, where they are in the world, there is always opportunities for improvement. And the good side is if you do this and complete it 100%, LinkedIn tells us, not me, LinkedIn, that you'll get 30% extra views per week. And we all know that's really hard to get views on a company page. Not here to pretend that that's anything else, but that's the upside for putting that effort in.
But how does it actually work? You've said that stat on the stage also. So those more views, how does LinkedIn figure out that they should expose it more for you, do you know?
Yeah, so essentially what happens is when you set up a page, LinkedIn gives you little prompts at the end. So you can skip over some bits, like, in setup, and some fields are mandatory. But the more you skip over, the more it says, what? Is this a real page? Or is this a fake page? Just like there's fake profiles out there, when it just has a name, no banner, no photo, one connection. It's the equivalent. So if we think that LinkedIn's algorithms and AI are out there having a look and trying to prevent these fake accounts, and this, fake page profiles just as much as human profiles. And so from that perspective, they go, if you don't put the effort in, we don't want to trust you straight away, because a real business would make that effort. And so it's, something that's important. It may just hold it back a little bit, or it may hold it back a lot. And so this is why it's important to go back and check.
That's very important. And Stefan is also commenting, when you confuse him, you lose him. So don't confuse the algorithm, fill out your profile 100%, and don't confuse your buyers, because that costs your company money.
Exactly. And we're back to that. Like, we're all working really hard to try and grow businesses. And it doesn't matter whether we're coming at it from the Dream Data perspective or B2B Growth Co's perspective. We're trying to help people grow. And it's like, you got the fish on the hook, they came to your page, and then it's like, where am I? Am I in the right place?
Right.
And, there's a lot of work that people do, say, on their websites to make sure that the positioning and messaging and branding are all really clear. And then the company page, it's like, why? Because posts don't perform the same. So everyone decided it's not worth the effort. And I'm here, as I said, hopefully to change a few minds today.
Love it. So when you do your company let's talk about redoing them, because well, I guess all of them who are here right now, you've got a company page on LinkedIn, but once in a while you need to update it, you need to redo it, and for it to be appealing for your buyers, really, besides just filling out the right information. So where do you start? What is it that you do?
Always start with the banner, because it's like the billboard for your business. And, we can't always be in Times Square, New York, like you and Dream Data, but think about your page has its own billboard. And from that perspective, when I land on it, immediately do I know, are you a company that either does what I'm looking for? Am I your kind of customer? Do I align with your values? Because sometimes companies are values-based, and it's important to show that. But there needs to be something like a magnet that attracts those people to keep them there long enough to have a look around. And we know that B2B buyers are doing everything they can to make sure that they don't have to talk to salespeople. Now, I spent 20 years in B2B sales, so I come from that side. Like, we're on the same team, but they don't want to talk to us anymore because they can Google search. And this is the other thing. When you Google your business name, your LinkedIn company page typically comes up in the first three to five results. So your website's right up there, and then your LinkedIn company page is next. Now, what happens if I go, okay, I've looked at your website, I want to do a bit more investigation. They land on your company page. What are they going to find? And so making sure that banner greets them and is that magnet. That's why I love yours. It's really clear around, why are we here? What do we do? And who do we do it for? And so just start with that, and then work your way down to the headline. It's only 120 characters, right? So on a profile, we get 220. You've got 120 characters to make an impact.
Right.
Are you using them? Or again, is it a missed opportunity? And these are little things, but I promise you, when you win at company pages, it's by doing lots of little things that compound over time and doing them well. And just, that top 1/3 of your company page is really important to get right.
Right. And how often would you tweak and try to redo to make it perfect?
Yeah, so I'm guilty of probably changing mine too often, but I also say to customers, why not use this strategically? So say you've got an event coming up. Maybe you've just paid a lot of money to go and have a stand at a trade show or an event. Why not use your company page banner to let people know you're going to be there? So again, if they land on the page, they're now going, oh, I should be aware of this event. So use it strategically, aligned with your marketing or sales goals, or both, and ultimately think, what is the business goal right now that the company page should be contributing to, not it's this thing that we ignore and let it gather dust.
Right.
So start to think, what are we trying to achieve and how can we use this to achieve it? Because guess what? You don't follow a company page just for fun because you like someone. You go there because you know that brand's got the information that you want. And so again, just make use of it and don't just get so focused on company page posts. Don't go as far as personal posts. It's not about that. It's about how can we build a brand that supports personal brands, and that's what your page should be doing.
Yeah, because I've never built myself a LinkedIn company page, but there seems to be a lot of bells and whistles that you can add and remove from the profile itself.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to have a link directly to your website, or do you want to have like a link to talk to sales directly and stuff like that?
Yeah.
There is so much to figure it out. So do you usually work with B2B SaaS companies or just B2B?
Look, I work with anyone that literally needs a company page, which is every kind of business. I focus on B2B. I have worked with SaaS companies as well. But ultimately, what we're seeing right now is LinkedIn are overhauling company pages. They've just done another refresh. They have started trialing LinkedIn Premium for company pages. Now, I'm not going to get sidetracked on that, but you can see that there's a lot of investment going into pages. And why is that happening? It's this simple. Guess what you need to run LinkedIn ads? You need a company page. So while you're over on your company page, guess what pops up? Prompts, why don't you try Campaign Manager? Press the boost button. And so it's another way for them to generate income. So yes, so LinkedIn has a vested interest in making pages great, even though you may not think it feels that way. When I first started talking about them 4 years ago, there's about 5 people in the team, in the pages team. Now there's about 50. So if you think about it, that's what's generating revenue. Record spends on ads on LinkedIn. Twitter's, X is a dumpster fire. People took their money across. And so now it's the platform where business is done. And so now is the time to take advantage of it, no matter what kind of business you are.
Nice. Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, your buyers are there. They're looking for your services. And if they don't want to talk to sales, then help them look at your profile and buy from you in a different ways.
Yeah, look, and I look at my own career. If I go back when I started in sales, I was the keeper of knowledge, right? I was the person that you had to come to find out everything. And then someone invented that thing called the internet and Google and now, ChatGPT or variations of these things. And so I can find information as a buyer like this, and I can compare people really easily. And so then it becomes, okay, if that's the playing field, how do we make our businesses stand out? And it's often by doing things our competitors won't do. So have a look around your industry. If everyone else is ignoring their company page, you know what I'm doing? I'm going to make it the best company page ever in the industry and lead the industry before someone else does.
Love it. Let's talk about standing out. And looking into your competitors, it could be one way of doing it. The other way of doing it would be, how do we want to stand out? What is it that we want to do? But when you work with your clients, when you talk about those standing out pieces, so walk me through real quick of how would you create the company page and maybe a little bit into the content itself, what the company creates on LinkedIn to stand out.
One of the things that I say to people is at some point, company pages and the marketers or whoever looks after them, they let go of being creative. They let go of having some fun, and Dream Data and their memes and, like you've seen how successful having fun on LinkedIn can be. But someone decided there's a rule that you have to be buttoned up and corporate when you're on a company page on LinkedIn. You don't. It's not true. You can have personality. And when you do it right, aligned with the rest of your brand and your business, I'm not doing it just for cheap impressions, but it is a way to get attention, but trying different things, not just, we just turned over this many billions. This is our financial report. This is our quarterly numbers. No one cares. And this is why I loved your presentation. The handy tip is no one cares about your business. No one cares about you. They just care about the problem you solve. Quote unquote you. I was sitting there high-fiving you from the audience going, yes, but it's the same with pages. You talk marketing and sales, I talk pages and profiles. It's the same. No one cares.
And now you're saying pages and profiles. So on stage, you spoke about the fusion of the two and start to fuse the brand and the profile. Talk a little bit more about this because I think this was something so overlooked by a lot of companies.
So we talk about or hear the words employee advocacy everywhere.
Yes.
I feel like 2021 was all personal branding. 2024, it's the year of employee advocacy. I'm not sure everyone knows exactly how hard that is, but what happens is we talk about let's get as many employees as possible to start creating content for the business.
Yeah.
Whether it's sharing the corporate stuff or writing their own, we all think that that's the only way. And then I think, hang on a minute, what about page advocacy? Why don't you get your page and turn it into the cheer squad for every employee that's out there creating content? So then you've got an association. It's not just you as a person, it's you and Dream Data, the power combo. And so the Dream Data page backs up you personally, you back up the page. And again, we've just doubled our opportunities to shine out in there. We've doubled our branding opportunities. And instead of going, oh, if someone does something on the page, it takes things away. We're going, no, compounding, bringing them together. Just like you say, sales and marketing, I'm saying page advocacy supports employee advocacy. And so this is where people don't look at pages because they're so busy back on post impressions that we don't go, what can we do? So imagine if every time your team posted, who shows up? Dream Data. Who's there supporting the team? And what it does for teams that might not be as advanced as yours, they go, someone's paying attention, someone liked my post, and I feel like someone's acknowledging my work. And if you want to get the team started, a little acknowledgement goes a long way, which I don't need to tell you because I saw the journey that Dream Data went through. And you go through it as a group. And, this is why it's important. So play as a team.
Yeah, you made an analogy about the dancing floor. It's more or less take it back to the same one because it's still the same topic, but it makes just so much sense.
It does. So to kind of fill people in, when I talk about company pages, one of the things that comes up is that people say, oh, it's only ever employees that comment on the company page. And, that's bad, or the algorithm doesn't like it, or maybe it looks desperate, or there's all these reasons why that you shouldn't do it. And I'm here to kind of, again, challenge the thinking that people have about pages. Here's what I want you to think about. Remember the last time that you went to a wedding and you've had a great day. Everyone's dressed up. The bride and groom just got married. You go back to the wedding reception, possibly had a few drinks, but either way, you're having fun. There's a huge dance floor in the middle and the music's great and you're sitting on your chair tapping, want to get up and dance, but no one else is there yet.
Not going to be the first one.
No one wants to be the first one. And so if you think about it, when it comes to commenting on a company page, no one wants to be the first one, especially from within the industry. So by having your team show up, it creates a safe space. And we know what happens at weddings. One person gets up and then all of a sudden the whole family's there and the other side is there. And then all of a sudden everyone's having a great time. So does it matter that it's only employees commenting? Absolutely not. I think that's just a story that we make up to try and make ourselves feel better. But if you think about it, if you're putting valuable content out and it's valuable content and your team shows up and adds their input as well, again, Dream Data wins, the individual wins, and then you're really showing up for your customer because it's not about you.
No,
it's about them. And I think somewhere along the way, we just lost track of why we're doing this. Can we get things back on track?
Yeah,
Can we,
exactly.
Can we start something here? It's like the pact to get things back on track where we care about our customers, where what we're doing is in service of them. And so everything about your page is not what it looks like, what the algorithm cares about. It's being in service of who you want to work with.
Precisely. And your story brought also an idea for my mind as well, is like, if I'm in sales and selling to a specific list of clients, let's say we've got that ABM motion that goes across sales and marketing. Imagine if your company page goes and likes another company page's post that you're actually targeting. Who are behind them? They do care. And
Yeah.
especially if you sell to sales and marketing, because they would say, okay, this company, wait, I've seen them somewhere else. And the same would go when the brand starts to interact with their people, with their own people as well. It's like it's alive.
So have a look at this. We'll go one step further. LinkedIn gives us the functionality to do that easily. And that's called pages following other pages. And so you can set up a list of 10, 20 target clients. You can follow up set the list of their company page. Every time they post, it shows up in a feed. You don't even have to go into the normal home feed. You don't have to click. You go one by one and just support and comment. And because it's a page, you can have multiple page admins, so you can designate that to anyone in the team.
Yeah.
So it might be the person, it might not be the person that creates the content, it might be someone else, but it's within the functionality. And you literally, just as they post, you show up. And we're being supportive. We're not being spammy. We're not trying to sneak in. And what happens is we know that pages don't get as many comments. They're not getting hundreds of comments. Imagine every time Dream Data shows up. Dream Data shows up. They are always there for me, top of mind. And so all their employees who might be following their own page, they see Dream Data is always supporting us.
I think it's great.
What happens in the world, and my grandmother taught me this, what goes around comes around. You want people to support you, go and support them, and your page can do it just as much.
I love it. I love it. And you can even do that with companies or businesses selling to the same audience as you do. So your partners, your peers in the industry as well. I love this. It's a very good idea. Michelle, we're going to take a couple of questions and then we're going to move into that fusion of employee and company. All right?
All right.
Let's see. So Christian, he had a question. Are there any good examples of pages on LinkedIn and the best practices that you're seeing?
Yeah, we were talking about this. So there's a couple that I always go to. I think Gong, G-O-N-G, they do a good job. But the one that I like the most is actually the New Zealand police force.
No.
Yes.
What?
Now you are all thinking, has she lost the plot? And we were talking about Chili Piper and, there's lots of companies that are doing this well. The New Zealand police force, you would think, what has LinkedIn got to do with them?
Yeah.
How can you make policing interesting and fun and stand out and be unique? And I assure you that their content, you will follow that page, even though you may not ever go to New Zealand. You may not like police people. You may not do that. But I promise you, if you follow their page, you are going to go, that's a great idea.
What do they do right?
So they humanize their brand, right? So when we think police, you might think conflict or aggressive, or there might be rules and regulations. And instead, we see the human side behind their business. So it could be the little puppies from the dog squad, that go around and do sniffer dogs and things, to find drugs. But when you see their little puppies, you are like going, oh my God, they're so cute. But it reminds you that these dogs grow up one day and they've got a job out in the community, but they are so community focused with the content that they do that it is something that is inspiring for me to see. No matter what your business is, you can find a way that connects your business to your community and try something new. And you know what they do most of the time? Grab a phone, take a picture of something in action and write about it. And they're not long posts. They're not, hard posts to read.
Yeah.
They're actually quite easy. And you might think, wow, this feels more like it's Instagram or might be over on TikTok. And you think about these things and it's like, wow, okay, LinkedIn, we can have some fun. LinkedIn, we can try new things.
Exactly.
And so this is why I use that as an example, because people just go,
Yeah,
What?
that's exactly what happened.
What?
Even Sue said, here they are. Thank you, Sue, for sending
I
us a link
love
of
it.
it.
I love it. Shout out to Sue as well. But
Amazing.
these are the things, and I think what I love about it is it's bringing the human to the page.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just being a brand that's unapproachable, unrelatable, or untouchable.
Yeah.
It's now we're a bunch of people that are doing our job in the background, that we're just like you.
Yeah.
These are the real people. I'm sure your content performs so well when people see you doing your thing
Yeah.
in your way. And the fact is, you've got an office full of 50 people that you could highlight on the page.
Yeah.
No different to what you do over on your profile.
That's right.
And
That's
again, by your page putting them up on a pedestal,
Mm-hmm.
as a salesperson, when you walk in the door to go and see that target brand or target customer, all of a sudden they go, oh, you're the one your company's been talking about. And they see you different because you've had that spotlight shined on you. And now all of a sudden you're like 10 foot tall and bulletproof walking in to see these target customers.
So interesting. It brings so many ideas. Also, if you like talking about, oh, we are really into like have the best customer service. So put them there.
Yeah.
Show that they're real people and these are the people you'll be speaking with. Or I don't know,
Yeah.
you're selling consulting and you've
Yeah.
got 100 consultants. Well, put them there.
Yeah.
People want to know how they look.
Yeah, and it might be, if you think about it, we're dealing with email addresses so often. Contact is either direct messaging or emailing or, ways along these lines. All of a sudden now I can see who's that person behind the email. Oh my God, is that what they look like? I thought they looked like this. And in your mind, now they're a real human.
Yeah.
Now you don't feel like a number anymore.
That's
because
right.
you're like, that's the person I talk to.
I love
And so, just any moment you get to show the faces of the humans in your business, that content will always perform best.
Yeah.
And especially if you make them and show why they're important to the business. One win for the page, of course, but the other win is you make that employee feel fabulous.
Yeah.
And then they are a little bit taller.
Mhm.
And then they want to give back and help and support a little bit more. And it's literally always how that power of two.
Yeah.
How do we work together? I think you spent your whole talk doing sales and marketing. And I'm like, power of two. It's the same thing. We're like power of two, sales and marketing working together. Instead of page, profile, they're different.
100%. Ricardo had a question about content to create and how often to create on the company profiles. So now back to the company profiles. What type of content do you create and how often, what type of content should you be posting?
Okay, so the how often comes down to resourcing. If you're a consultant or a very small business, I'm not going to tell you to hang out on your LinkedIn company page all the time. The fact is, limited time, limited resources, small business, most of it's going to be spent over on your personal profile. That does come back to how far, if I do a post on both, it will go further and be seen by more people over on your profile, right? So I can't argue with that. Now, if you're a small to medium sized business, and more than just a consultant or one or micro business, then I would aim for 3 times per week.
Okay.
If you can do more, that's great. But if it's too much, 2 consistent posts every week rather than 5, 0, 1, disappear for 3 weeks, come back again. It's the consistency of staying top of mind. This is what people need to understand. And the page becomes a library as a destination rather than something that shows in the feed. So think, when I land there, what will I find? And as I share, it's your greatest hits library. Where can you put the best and most valuable content that makes a difference to your audience, is in service of them? So 3 times a week is great. If you can do more, of course you can do it. And there are businesses of all sizes with, possibly teams of all sizes. If you're a smaller business, don't be afraid to repurpose or repost personal content from your employees. Bring that across. A repost helps. Again, working together.
Yeah. And what type of content? How much should you focus on that actual thought leadership, the heavy stuff that we really need to create, and then the engaging pieces of the content.
Yeah, it's funny when we use the words thought leader, people often think individual,
Yeah.
right? They don't think brands can be thought leaders. And I absolutely disagree with this. And if you read the Edelman Thought Leadership Report in the, it's all about B2B thought leadership, you'll basically go into that. And buyers are doing their research on brands. They Google for answers and they're looking to brands because you've got a whole team.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the power of you, it's now the power of the whole of Dream Data to come up with thought leadership. And so from that perspective, I think, how often are we doing it? For me, it's always going to be a good mix.
Mm-hmm.
So we need the content that shows value, that shows that you are the company that people can trust. And that's one area. Then we need a little bit of who are you, the humans behind the company page. And then don't forget the post that says what you actually do. And it can be a hard sell and say we have these products and services, or it could be a soft one like here's a testimonial from a client that we worked with, because people often get a little bit funny about saying we can't be salesy on LinkedIn. Oh my God. I'm like, we'll start rocking in this corner.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. But you don't have to always smack people in the face.
No.
It can be, or you can. And I actually think people need to do that more often and say, this is what we do. This is who we do it for. And this is why our product or service is the best. You have earned the right by sharing all of the value, by showing that our values align and you're my kind of business. Don't forget to tell them, because otherwise what happens is they learn from you, they like you, they buy elsewhere. And that makes me cry.
No, exactly. And you shared more or less the structure of know, feel, and buy. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Can you uncover just a little bit of that?
Yeah. So I talk about my 3-2-1 content strategy, which is 3 + 2 + 1 is 6 posts. And so it's about having the ratios right. So if we talk about good to know, so that's all the industry knowledge that you're going to share. And that's where as a corporation, you can share from all kinds of different perspectives. We want to talk about that so people end up knowing that we know our stuff and we can be trusted, because they're going to hand money over at some stage. They want to know that you've got the solution to their problem, ultimately. So, but if we talk about that all the time, then people are like, yeah, okay, but are they the person or the right fit for my business, which is equally important. So that's where the good to feel posts come in, and that's 2 posts. And good to feel posts are the human side of your business. It could be employee milestones, new starters. It could be you do community work. It could be that your company values sustainability. And I don't mean just those tick and flick because it's World Something or Other Day. I mean the genuine your company values. And that's because the modern buyers these days, the younger generations, buy based on values, right? So this is what we want to shine a light on. And the third one is the 1 post, which is the good to buy. And that's the part where we remind people, not assume, because too many people assume that we know what we do like we do. And so I discovered this myself because I just thought everybody knew I'm a LinkedIn trainer. I help people, grow their businesses. And then I would see that they'd just worked with a competitor and I'd be crushed going, what's happened? And I was like, why did you work with them? Like, I thought we had something. They're like, oh, did you do that, Michelle?
Come on.
I didn't know you had that service. So I learned that mistake very early on, which is why I teach people now. And it's not a bad thing because you've earned the right. They know you, they like you, they trust you, and they want to buy from you. So make sure that you let them know what is it that you actually do.
That's good. We've got a very difficult question.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
This one is interesting because you do have experience with this, but
yes.
So languages on LinkedIn posts.
Yeah.
They are currently in German for them.
Yep.
But how do you work with languages? Do you mix? What do you do?
Yeah, so I had this interesting conversation at the summit that we've both just been to, where everybody was asking the question, Danish or English? So, same thing. And we were playing around with the idea that it always comes back to, what does your audience want? So not what does Michelle think is best, but what works best with your audience. Do they prefer or engage more when you do the post in German? And you'll have to do a bit of testing on this for your own audience. If they do, stick with German. If they don't, try English. The other thing that we're playing around with on company pages, you can post multiple times a day with no problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got, some people that we're speaking to. Have a play. I haven't done this, but have a play, post German in the morning, English in the afternoon. See what happens. You're not going to get penalized by the algorithm. People on LinkedIn, if they see something and it's in German and they want to see it in their own language, you just press C translation.
Yeah.
My feed right now is all in Danish. It's hilarious. I love it because I've connected with so many people. The algorithm knows I'm talking about it, that I'm here.
Yeah.
And so everything's in Danish. And I'm like, C translation, C translation. And if I don't want to read it, we just scroll. I wish it was easy to get everyone to stop, but if we don't like it, we just scroll.
Nice.
So play around, have some fun, experiment.
Let's talk about the fun. So mixing company and company employee profiles, and how does the posting ratio, how to think about those pieces, because you sometimes think it's a disconnect. Oh, they have their personal brand and they should be doing their posting, or how much should we align and how does that synergy work?
It's kind of like if you were playing a sport together, it's important to all play on the same team, going in the same direction. And the thing that solves this problem is strategy.
Yeah.
And it all aligns with where are you trying to get to? What is the business goal that all this activity is drawing you towards? And if you haven't done that work, then what happens is it's like everyone's playing a different sport. Or everyone's up forward, no one's up the back, or no one's taking shots at the goal because they're all in the goalkeeper. So we have to look and go, where are we trying to get to? What's the best strategy? And then work out, this is how we move forward. And so what I find is if you start going, oh, well, Michelle's going this way, B2B Growth Co is going that way, another employee is going that way. And then you go, you know what they say? LinkedIn doesn't work for my business, Michelle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It makes me cry. But what happens is they skipped over the step of what's the strategy. So can I tell anyone this is the answer? No, I don't think I can. I think that would be irresponsible. There isn't a one size fits all, but it is where are you trying to get to and what is the best way that you can all move towards that?
I like it. Yeah, and mix the personality. If you're really, really afraid of doing more personal stuff on your company pages, well, then at least encourage that employees are okay to do that as well.
And sometimes more personal stuff can be, you've got someone that is super technical and probably one of the best industry experts in their field. Don't make them try and be the fun person if they're not fun in general.
Yeah.
Set them up to be the most technically competent person on LinkedIn. Or if there's someone that has a lot of experience in a particular area, highlight them for that. Being personal on LinkedIn doesn't always mean having fun or being, out there or, especially for introverted experts who quite often subject matter experts are introverted. Yeah. And the people that make, the business come together, quite often they may not be the ones that are out there, like the sales team that are like, here we are, we love this. But show them off at what they're good at and find a way for them to express what they're good at without having to try and be like an extrovert or loud or funny. It's okay for them to be personal, but super technical or something along those lines.
I love it. Love it. So now we're going to take up a couple of more questions. If you've got any, go ahead and post them over here for like 10 more minutes. But before the questions, was there anything that we missed out of chatting that we did not cover, so we just don't dig into the questions right ahead?
No, I just think the thing is, and I shared about it at the Link Summit, is it's all about mindset. If you think the page is a waste of time, you will ignore it and it will be a waste of time. I want people to stop and think, rather than just going pages and profiles, if I post over here, I get more views. If I post here, I don't get as much. It's like apples and oranges. They can't be the same. No one expects an apple to taste like an orange or vice versa. So don't expect your page to work the same as your profile. What I want you to have a look at is go, how could I use the page to start working as a team with the profiles and the employees? How can we work together? And that power of two, how can we combine things to really level things up? And when you start to look for it, you're going to be coming out of here going, oh my God, we could be doing this. Oh my God, we could be doing this. And it could be as simple as the page reposts an employee's post.
Yeah.
Right? Just a little thing. It could be doing a LinkedIn Live like we're doing today from the page and highlighting your team. It could be an audio event that the page organizes and then your employees come and show up. And that's how you start to build community. And again, it's just because when you come to work, you want to work for the best team that has the best team possible, attracts people that want to work here because they're the best. Yeah. And that's how you win. And I need to confess, I'm fiercely competitive and I love winning. So
that's good. Let's make all of you win through your LinkedIn profiles at least.
Exactly.
Good. So let's pick up a question about, we've got, again, a tough one for you. So we have several companies under one company. They're co-owned, but we would like to position the main one. Yeah. And do you work with companies that have similar problems?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And sometimes it can be the companies have bought other companies and they're now integrated but separate, and it can be all kinds of awkward, or they're fully combined. So there's lots of different ways that we can do this. There's things like affiliated pages. So you do all the work on the main page, but you've got these other, either company pages or showcase pages that are affiliated. Just shows like a dotted line so people know that there's a connection there. But ultimately, I always say to people, the more you can simplify your life, and especially with pages, when most marketers that are running these pages do not have time to scratch themselves, there's so many stats around how many hours they're spending doing this stuff. So from that perspective, if simplifying it and merging pages makes sense, I always recommend that. Just because it's easier to manage it with content than try and grow multiple pages all at the same time. Yeah. Keep up with the content, keep up with the community, keep up with the engagement. It's too much. And that's when people go, too hard basket. I'm going to go over here because this is easier.
Interesting. Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen this multiple times. If you've got company with multiple pages, where should your employees register themselves at?
Yeah, so this is where there's, I'll try not to get too technical, but if you have a company page and a showcase page, pages can't have employees, right? So this is where one of the stumps come up. People with good intentions set up a showcase page and then realize you can't have employees over there. And so it gets a little bit messy. Nothing you can't undo, but it's not ideal. But ultimately, you've got to think about, and it always comes back to everything I tell you, what is best for your customer that you're trying to target or your industry that you're trying to lead. It never comes to Michelle said this. Yeah. This is best because I don't know your audience. And I think it would be irresponsible of me to say, just do it this way. But ultimately, my guiding brief is what's best for the customer. Yeah. What simplifies the workload that you can do consistently and sustainably over the longer term, because this isn't just go hard and then disappear. It is, as long as that business is open, your page has to have consistent effort on it. And so, we're going for the marathon, not the sprint.
Yeah. And I love the part of thinking about the customer and thinking about also how they are going to perceive your page. What is it that they come into your LinkedIn page for? Yeah. Think about not what you're giving to them when they're coming, but what is it that they come there for? Yeah. What is it that you serve to them then? Can they find that information there exactly
as well? Like you said, like what problem does your business solve? Yeah. That's what they're looking for answers for. That's what they should find. They should be able to easily find answers to their problems. Yeah. And, you and I are so aligned like that and again, it comes down to being in service, not old school company pages. We're broadcasting, we're amazing. And as you say, no one cares.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that one time when you have to tell them what is it that you're actually selling.
Yeah.
Just
But
we sell this.
yeah, we solve this problem.
Yeah.
This tool solves this problem.
Yeah.
You know, and it's perfectly acceptable and legitimate to say these kinds of things. So, but again, always have time to experiment, see what works. I can see that Guy's on here as well, and he's had an answer to do with like the languages, and you can target countries and languages if you've got a certain number of followers, and that is another option that's available. But ultimately, again, work out what works best for your audience, because that's who you're in service of.
Amazing. We're complete. We have no more questions. If you've got more questions, always reach out to Michelle. You can find her LinkedIn. Do you create content anywhere else but besides LinkedIn?
No, sorry, I do have a YouTube channel, so you can find it at Michelle J. Raymond, and I also have 2 podcasts. So I have Social Media for B2B Growth podcast and the LinkedIn Branding Show. So you can find me there. It's funny, I think, no, I don't. I'm not on other social platforms. It's so funny because I kind of look at them as they're my places where I get to help people, where content lasts much longer. And so in my mind, they're different conversations. But if you enjoy podcasts or you prefer YouTube, because again, this is part of me being better for my audience and in service. If it was up to me, I'd only have long form content that's all written, but audiences learn different. So mix up the content that you put out there.
Fantastic. So follow on YouTube, listen to the 2 podcasts, go on LinkedIn, ask any questions, and you're going to understand so much more about the LinkedIn company pages. Michelle, thank you so much. Thank you for coming over.
Oh my God.
We all enjoyed you having on the show. So thank you for the audience as well. See you guys.